What's up, Pod Pals? It's your buddy Adam, and we are here for another podcast audit interview on Podcasting Business School. Today, I've got my friend Jennie O'Connor from the Everything Enthusiast podcast. Jennie, how's it going today?
It's going well, Adam. I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm pumped to have you. I've been on your show, great show, Everything Enthusiast, and I convinced you to pop on for one of these podcast audits, and we get to dive into your show. And this is like my favorite thing to do, to look at podcast growth and audience engagement opportunities, monetization opportunities. So where would be the best place to start for you? Where can I help you the most today?
Well, I was thinking about this. My show's pretty new, so I'm not entirely sure. I kind of want to defer to your wisdom on whether or not growth should be my top priority or monetization, or should I be doing both of those things concurrently? You tell me. Okay.
So one thing I like that you've got set up is you've got several lead magnets set up right now that are great for capturing those email addresses so that you can get some good communication going. And you are doing, do you do a weekly newsletter?
That's what I try to do.
Okay, that's the goal. Okay.
It's fallen to the wayside, but yes, I intend to get back to that.
Okay, so I feel like those two components, having some sort of email capture, lead magnet, value add, and having a regular, consistent newsletter, maybe it's once a month, maybe it's every other week, maybe it's once a week, twice a week, whatever, but just consistent, having those two components in place. Now, what I would suggest is let's grow the show. Let's ramp up audience engagement and then put them through that system. And that's going to lead to easier monetization down the road. So just like some benchmark download numbers that but people in my download growth club, I always talk about this. I'm like, all right, first benchmark is getting you to 125 downloads per episode so if you put out an episode today, within 30 days of today, I want that episode to have at least 125 downloads, which that puts you in the top 50% of all podcasts, which is kind of like mind blowing for a lot of podcasters because they're like, wow, I feel like it would take more than that. But the average podcast is doing like 20 downloads an episode. So going to 125, that's the first benchmark. Then the monetization sweet spot that I find is usually around 500 to 1,000 downloads per episode. So that's the next benchmark, is getting you over that 500 per episode. And if we get you to 1,000, that puts you in the top 20% of all podcasts that are active out there. So that's a nice little benchmark to hit as well. So between now and 125 downloads per episode, it's all about like, how do we get more right fit audience members out there tuning in every single week? Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. And like I said, since you've got the call to action lead capture available, you've got, I think you've got the 21 days to your dream job journaling challenge. You've got the what's your procrastination personality type. I always say podcrastination, people that haven't started their podcast. That's why that slipped.
Oh, okay.
And then your money mindset quiz, habit tracking worksheet downloads. You've got plenty of things that you can use as a web to bring people a little bit closer into your world and then communicate. So I like that a lot. So right now, downloads. Let's talk about growing that. The three areas that I really focus on with the download growth, and I view it as a pie chart, so that even if you don't have the energy or the capability or the resources in one area, we can still expand the other areas to make up for that. So the three areas of your podcast marketing pie chart are OPP, other people's podcasts. So you're on my podcast right now, so we're off to a good start. And how to leverage other people's podcasts. The other one is social media, having a set social media game plan and really viewing social media like I view social media like stock market investing. I'm looking at assets. Like, is Facebook a good place to invest my time, or should I be on Clubhouse? Is that a better place to invest my time? Where do I want to invest more time right now? So we view social media like that, and we have a good game plan. And then the third area is paid promotion, whether that's podcast player ads, Facebook ads, whatever. So if somebody comes to me and they're like, I really don't have a budget for paid promotion, I'm like, no problem. We really focus on other people's podcasts and we really get our social media game plan together. Other people might be like, Adam, I hate social media. I just want to be a podcaster. All right, we got to get on a lot of other people's shows and we might have to toss a little bit of money behind it. But it's a pie chart. So if one slice of the pie slims down, the others expand. And those are the 3 zones of growing your show that we want to focus on. So how would you grade yourself, or how do you view those 3 areas right now? How are we doing on getting on other people's shows? How are we doing with social media? And how are we doing with like any sort of paid promotion? What does the budget potentially look like?
Okay. Social media is the only thing I'm really doing regularly. And I have to say that what I'm doing is about what I'm willing to do. I've outsourced a lot of it to somebody. I mean, in terms of creating the assets and stuff, and he's coming up with a strategy for me. I truly hate it. I understand it's important, but as uninvolved in that as I can be, that's what makes me happy. So other people's podcasts, I think that's a terrific route to go down. I've only been on a couple so far. So obviously that's something I need to ramp up a little bit. And I've done no paid promotion whatsoever. Okay. I truly don't even know where to start.
Okay, perfect. So I think it's hilarious that as I'm describing the 3, you raised your hand when you're like, I'm the person that hates social media, but yet that's the main place you're putting your energy right now. And that's not any fault of your own. You're just like, this is what podcasters do. This is what I see other podcasters doing. So hopefully this pie chart, this strategy with the pie chart and viewing it like that, like, okay, maybe I don't have to do quite as much. I can just ramp into these other areas a little bit. So
I like it. Yeah.
I feel good. And with your personality, you're great. Just friend, like you're good at making friends. I can tell, like we're already friends. We've talked like 1.5 times and we're, like, I'm like, I feel very comfortable sending people your direction. So
true story.
Yes. So I think with other people's podcasts, one strategy, or let me give you a benchmark first, because we all like numbers and kind of goals to shoot for. A really good benchmark is averaging, like a baseline. I'm on somebody else's show once a month. So like 12 a year. That feels very doable.
I can do that.
Yeah. Now, when you get really networked in, the next level goal. So maybe you've like a couple first level goals are, I need to get to 125 downloads per episode. I need to be on one other show per month. Those are 2 like low hanging fruit, very doable. Somebody like you is very capable of doing that. Next level, 1 episode or 1 show per week. So averaging a little bit over 50 per year. If you do that, rocket ship, your downloads are going to take off, especially you'll have every once in a while, you'll be on a show that's kind of a broad brush show. But if we can be in your niche on other people's shows that really have a tangential relationship to your audience or this exact same audience, home run. Okay. So next question. How do we get there? How do we get on those types of shows? How do we do this? Obviously, things like just knowing people like me, being involved with Pod Pals and things like that. That's a great resource to make sure we're booking you on great shows and you're booking great people for your show. But one of the best techniques that I have with this is search. Like, do you ever look at like Apple Podcast charts or Spotify charts or Chartable or anything like that? Do you know anything about any of those things? Okay.
No, enlighten me.
Okay. Where do you listen to podcasts at? What player do you use?
Spotify.
Okay, perfect. So go on Spotify and you will see a charts. It's in there like on the homepage somewhere. Okay. So it'll say something like charts. Go to your categories that you are in. So whatever you list your show in, do you know what you list your show in? Is it like self-help or?
I'm trying to remember. It's now that I look at it, it doesn't feel like it's in the right place. But I know it's in arts, and it's like a subcategory of the arts. Okay. I think. Yeah. Okay.
So go to wherever you would look for shows like yours to listen to, and go to those charts. I think that on Spotify they have like the top 50 maybe. But what I want you to do is start from number 50 and work your way up, because the number 1 people are really hard to get. They've got the gatekeepers, and it's like, like you're not getting through to them unless you just really luck out. But start at 50 and maybe go between number 41 and 50. And I want you to put a reach out to them. And if it's a good fit, invite them on your show. Invite them to come on your show as an expert guest. All right. Okay. Make friends. And 40 to 50 to 60%. I've got an 80% ratio, but I'm really good at making friends. So for me, if I invite 10 people on my show, 8 of them, if they're podcasters, are going to invite me on their show. And I did this in 2019, 2020, and I was on like 200 podcasts. Like, it was just like nuts. I was doing 4 or 5 interviews a week.
Wow.
And yeah, like I had a whole system down, and now I'm just connected. I'm still doing 2, 3, or 4 interviews and other shows a week. So just a few months of doing this kind of ignites this fire, but start with the lower ranked ones as they're kind of closer to where you're at, and they may be just kind of popping into those rankings. And if that's not working for you, if you can't get in with those people, if they're a little too fancy or whatever, sometimes people are just hard to get to, go into Apple. They have a larger, or you go in Apple or Spotify and just do a search for keywords that you feel like ideal listeners for your show would be searching when they're looking for a podcast. So what would that be? Like what would a couple searchable terms be for you?
Multi-potentialite, polymath, multi-passionate.
Okay. So those are the words you put in, see what pops up. All right. Okay. See what shows pop up and look and see like, okay, some check boxes we want to hit when we're looking for a good partnership here. They're putting out episodes. It hasn't been like 1983 since they put out their last episode. You know what I'm saying? And like, you feel like, all right, this person, maybe you listen to a little bit of their stuff and just check them out and make sure like, all right, yeah, this is somebody I think I really could have a great interview with. I'm going to bring them on. I feel like I'd be great for their show. And so you're kind of sorting and sifting through that search and, you know, make sure they have as many episodes as you do, or maybe a little bit more. That would be kind of a level up. So if you've got, 30 episodes, maybe they have 75, or like look for that show that's just a slight tick ahead of where you're at, because they probably have a little bit bigger audience. There's a good chance of that. Consistent content, slightly more episodes than what you have already, and make friends and start working on that. Now, for me, the thing that really cinches me getting invited on someone else's show, if they come on my show, we make friends, and I don't get the invite right then, I go, hey, let's do an Instagram live follow-up when your episode goes live, and I want to get you for 15 minutes live Q&A with my audience. It's going to be awesome. If I do those 2 things, like that's 80% I'm getting on their show, because I've added value. We've made friends. They've heard me speak and have conversations. And honestly, we're all looking for good guests that can hold a conversation, and it's awesome, right? So,
right.
How's that sitting on you so far? How's that idea feel right now?
It's good. It's such a smart strategy to look for someone who's just slightly ahead of where I'm at, and I hadn't thought of it. So I like it. Thanks.
Okay. So do you have like a VA or anybody that's working with you right now to help you out?
I do, doing various different things. Yeah.
Okay. This is a great delegation opportunity for a VA. All right.
Okay.
So, and I've trained other people's VAs on how to do. I need to put together like a little training video on this inside my.
Yeah.
So I've got this inside my Download Growth Club membership, but I think I need to be like, and here's how you train your VA to do this. So you create a spreadsheet, and all you do is enter in the podcast that you think that you want them to kind of research for you, and you like vet them like, okay, this is a good fit. I would like to invite them to be on my show. And they're going to keep track of the spreadsheet, and you go, okay, here are 10 shows for this week. And I want you to send this kind of templated email to invite them on your show. All right. So you have your VA do that. Okay. And then that way they're kind of taking care. And then that, like, hey, so-and-so hasn't responded yet. And you kind of take them off the list, put somebody new on there, go, okay, go through this list. And just week by week, you're chipping through these, and you're getting great guests onto your show. You're getting invited back on more shows that are helping you level up, and you're growing your audience. So yeah, get your VA involved and let them kind of give them the template for how to invite somebody. And you want to make sure in the invite email, it's very obvious that you are inviting them on your podcast, because I open those 100% of the time. And I most likely say yes 100% of the time, like 99% of the time. The emails that we all start to delete are I've got a great guest for you, or I'd be a great guest for you, because I get 24 of those a day almost. And it's just like, you got to come with something a little bit better than that right now.
Well, there's the what's in it for me thing, so that makes perfect sense. And I love the idea of outsourcing this. It's brilliant.
Yeah. And that way they're like, all you do is just get some prospects, or even better, they could send you the prospects, and they go, hey, here's the number 31 through 39 ranking for this week. You just move up the rankings each week and go, here's this block of 10. What do you think? Who do you want me to contact? That's it. That's even easier. And then you just sort through and go, yes, no, yes, yes, no. All right, boom, automated. And then they're booking them for you. If they say yes, like, okay, that's easy. And just make sure you personalize it enough that it doesn't look like one of those like emails that we get where it's like, hello, podcaster, I have a great guest for you.
Insert name here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, be legit there. And I think, but that's how I blew up my first health show. Just, I got booked on 50 of the top 200 health podcasts going. I had some giant, huge scores. I was on the number 9 ranked podcast that does like millions of downloads. Like, it really helps. And then you'll be on some lower ones too. And then you just remember, like, you got to kind of pay it back and pay it forward at the same time. When somebody hits you up to be on their show, and maybe they just launch, like, you say, cool. Let's do this.
Oh, 100%.
And help them out.
Yeah.
So, so that is a strategy that's going to be worth your time. And then with social media, okay, like something like what we're doing right now, like I'm using StreamYard. We're live on Facebook. We're live in my Facebook group. We're live on my YouTube channel, and I won't touch this. Like, it's done. So that is a way to put content out there. You can do LinkedIn. I'm not on LinkedIn. Well, I am, but I don't have like live video capability or whatever, because I don't know. I'm not on there enough, I guess. Instagram doesn't connect to StreamYard, but this is an opportunity. I've never had a YouTube channel before this, and now I do, because the video looks good. I can do all the little like bells and whistles, and I don't have to touch it. And that's something, if you want to mess with like hashtagging and stuff like that, you can have your VA go in there afterwards, and you could have some like standard hashtags that they always insert on the back half. But this is great looking content. It's on social media. So that's low hanging fruit. The other thing I would look at is those live follow-ups on like an Instagram. And you're on Instagram, so we interact.
I am. That's basically my main social media platform.
So I think if you could spend like basics that people do on social media are like the post. Like I do your show image, episode 99. There it is. And we do that. The issue is, a lot of times what podcasters do, they record episodes, they put it out, they have one social media post, or that and an audiogram or something like that. And then they're like, why am I only getting 20 downloads an episode? I'm doing the thing. But those are the minimums. Like, those are the minimum things that you should be doing. If we want to grow, we have to do more than minimum. So I think if you do that, and if you do a 15 to 20 minute Instagram live follow-up interview with a previous podcast guest once a week. So if do you do interviews every single week, or do you some solo episodes also?
I make solo episodes in as well.
Okay. Yeah. So what I would do, this is exactly what I do. Like tomorrow's Wednesday, and I go live from my podcasting business school every Wednesday evening. So what that looks like is, last week I had a solo episode. So I go on and I pick one like minute segment of what I talked about, and I deep dive on it for 15 minutes. And then I refer back to that episode to say, if you want to go even deeper on this, I talk about blah, 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 X, Y, and Z. In addition to this, check out episode 180 of Podcasting Business School. If it's a guest episode week, then I bring that person on, hopefully, if they're available, and we do a 15-minute follow-up Q&A. And my audience can ask them questions. I can ask them more questions. We can talk a little bit about follow-up on the episode. And it's huge, because if you and I go live, and we can try this, I'm glad to be a test dummy. I'm a great dummy for these sorts of things. But when you go live and when I join you, the algorithm promotes me as if I'm going live. So it sends a notification to all my people that are on the app. So that's the huge kicker about Instagram Lives. That's why it's worth 15 minutes a week. And then you save that into Instagram TV. You can share it into your story. So it's one piece of content for 15 to 20 minutes, and it's all over the platform. That's going to be worth your time. So I would go with that as option number one, in addition to the basics. And then looking at something like what we're doing here with StreamYard for your interviews, to blast them out live and allow your audience to check that out. But it's there for people to consume. So those are some low hanging fruit in the social media. How do you feel about those two strategies?
The StreamYard thing is genius, and I'd never even heard of it until today. So I'm super excited because I do want to start a YouTube, but I want to do it with as minimal effort as possible. I just feel like adding more to my schedule right now is not something that I'm super stoked on. The Instagram Live thing is brilliant. I'm weirdly scared of it. What if nobody shows up?
Well, that's okay. like that's 100% okay, because like, let's say you and I are live now. At first they won't, like everybody is like, you want to announce it. You want to like go on your Instagram story and be like, hey, tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'm going live. But if you do it at the same day and time every week, people will start showing up. They will start asking questions. But the cool thing is it's live, it's saved in Instagram TV, and then you can promote it whenever you want and tag those people. So people will start to watch it if they can't be there live. First few, you have to figure out, when are your people around on Instagram?
Right.
You know,
and just, so you just prepare questions on the off chance that no one in your audience asks any.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
I always have 4 or 5 questions ready to rock.
Okay.
Because I never get to ask all the questions I want to ask during an interview. So there's always those like leftovers. I'm like, let's cover the leftovers a little bit.
Perfect. Okay. Yeah, no, so that's doable for sure.
I want you to think about this as easy, really high quality content primary. So and once we do get the audience there, audience engagement, boom, that's great. You know, and it's a great way to promote the episode. So, you know, like I came on your show, right? Mm-hmm. And you gave me some great highlights and images to share out. I share them out, but like 6 or 7%, maybe 10% of my audience actually sees that, right? Mm-hmm. So it's great when people share it out. Some people don't even share it out. And you're like, oh, you a-hole.
I know.
Worst ever. So like, but imagine, okay, we go live and my notification goes out to everybody and we time it up right. So it's like evenings. I know my people are around on Instagram in the evening. That's why I always do like 6, 7, 8 p.m.
Sure.
And we get 15, 20, 50 people to show up, and you are actively able to promote our episode to those people that are there watching live. That's way better. You know?
Yeah.
I did this with a group in the health space that had like 300,000 Instagram followers, and I got 300 new followers in 15 minutes.
Yes.
Like, and they started buying my stuff and listening to my show and downloading everything. And like, if you get an ideal guest with the exact ideal audience, this is a great connection point. You're gonna push people over into your world that really you want in your world. So yeah, I would experiment with that. Again, I'd be glad to go live with you to kind of help guide you through it.
Yeah, for sure. You're going to be my guinea pig.
Yeah, that's no problem. That's no problem. And I'll walk you through it. Super easy.
Okay.
Let's talk growth with paid opportunities. Okay. All right. So podcast player ads. There are a few different marketing platforms. So a podcast player ad is like, you listen on Spotify. You'll hear ads on Spotify, right? Where it's like, you know, whatever. It's like the audio ads. If you listen to music, if you listen to shows, all of a sudden an ad will pop in, and that's a part of Spotify. Mm-hmm. You can do that for your show. You can have the Everything Enthusiast podcast ad on other people's stuff, which is cool. And you can target, which is nice. Then there are platforms like Overcast, Overcast.fm. That's another non-Apple that a lot of people listen to. Apple Podcasts, you can't advertise on. They don't have it. But on Overcast, you have what's called a banner ad. So you're listening to a health podcast. I can advertise in the health podcast category, so that when somebody is listening to a health-based show, my show's banner ad pops up at the top, and they can click on it and hit subscribe. And they track that so that every time you get somebody to subscribe, you know, like, okay, I ran a campaign. It was $200. I got 55 new subscribers. So I'm paying about $4 per new subscriber. Awesome. Like actually hitting the subscribe button, not downloads, subscribers. That's huge. So that has gone really well. I'll mention a couple other that I have off air. I ruined the Overcast platform because it's based off of scarcity and demand. So the more demand there is, the higher the prices go, and the prices tripled after I did a podcast episode about it and how to do it. So I'm like, I don't mention any of my other marketing honey holes where I market my show.
Wow. Okay.
Because I don't want my prices to go up.
Yeah. Lesson learned.
So Spotify, actually, I just put out an episode today. It's episode 181 with Chris Krimitsos, and we talk about Spotify ads, which is an audio ad platform where you get to do some targeting, and it's really, really good. Chris and his wife, Katie, from the Women's Meditation Podcast Network, they crush it on Spotify. Like, they'll run an ad and get hundreds of thousands of new subscribers and downloads. And
Amazing.
It's really, really good. The minimum ad spend on Spotify is $250. You do an audio. I've got a little bit of a technique that we talk about in the episode, but I'd be glad to teach you that as well. And that's a space that Spotify is really growing right now. So I think that homework wise, we definitely want to set that goal, 125 downloads per episode over the first 30 days. Once you hit that, we're shooting for 500. That's our monetization sweet spot. And once you get to 500 to 1,000, that's when we start doing calls to action for here's how we can monetize type of things. Until then, send your CTAs to a lead magnet, consistent newsletter, build the relationship. All right. And we'll start diving into some, I think Instagram lives will go and I'll teach you that. That's a great use of your time, and you can investigate the whole StreamYard like we've got going here. Cool. All right. I think I've given you enough homework today. I built out a podcasting business dashboard for you that I'll share with all my notes for today as well.
I'm so excited to see that.
You've got all of it. You've got all of the things.
Yay.
Make sure we shout out your show, your brand. Where do people go to connect with you? Where do you, go to connect on Instagram? How do they listen to your show? All the good things.
All right. So my main website is jennieoconnor.com, and I spell Jennie with an IE, not a Y. And I spell O'Connor with an OR, not an ER. And you can find my podcast there. It's called the Everything Enthusiast. And I'm on Instagram, Facebook, and Pinterest at Your Creative Fairy Godmother.
Awesome. And she's got great social, so check her out and be watching for our Instagram live. If you guys are out there, if you watch content on YouTube, we're now blasting these live, as I mentioned, on YouTube. If you're watching on YouTube, I've always wanted to say this, smash that subscribe button. That's what I see all my favorite YouTubers say. So we are just getting going on YouTube. Hit that like, leave us a comment, and smash that subscribe button so that we can keep the good content going. Jennie, I'm excited to see what you do. And if you guys that are out there listening in, if you want to do a podcast audit, just head on over to the website, www.podcastingbusiness.school.
All right.